Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Thursday, March 28, 2013. This is Texan TV News from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I am Dominique Martin. In today's headlines, the Tarleton Invitational Band Festival will come to a close this evening. Dublin ISD approves measures to extend faculty and staff contracts. A West Texas jury has convicted a man for the murder of an Austin woman whose husband was wrongfully convicted of her slaying. The Supreme Court contemplates removing a federal law that prevents legally married gay couples from receiving the same federal benefits of heterosexual married couples. A judge has announced that more than 150 human skulls and bones recovered from a mass grave in Sri Lanka were buried there about 25 years ago, as well as today's weather. And now today's top story. After months of waiting in anticipation, Tarleton students can now breathe a sigh of relief thanks to the unanimous approval of the proposed renovations and expansion of the OA Grant Building by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board in Austin on Wednesday morning. Kennedy said the project will address the 40-year-old OA Grant Humanities Building to provide modernized and expanded space for the growing liberal and fine arts program at Tarleton. The project will also add 2 additional floors over the 1-story proportion to provide modernized spaces for public relations and events management labs. The University Writing Center, media coverage, studies, digital media, and video podcast activities, student media and collaborative learning areas, the Dean of the College and Liberal and Fine Arts suite, and the Department of Communication Studies suite. Shortly after leaving the THECB boardroom, Dottavio said university officials were pleased with the outcome. "We really didn't know what was going to happen," he said, "but they were very, very positive about the great things happening at Tarleton. Had really no questions at all about the proposal of the project. Where it is that the university is heading, and so from my standpoint, it was the best possible outcome. For the students in the humanities, or for any student on the Tarleton campus for that matter," he continued, "there are going to be spaces in that building unlike anything we have on campus today. They are going to become the spaces that students are going to want to use in the future because teaching is changing. How students learn is changing. And what these spaces will do is provide you with the latest, the best, and I think some of the most interesting kinds of equipment and spaces that you could possibly want at a university."
We've just gotten word that our humanities building is going to go ahead and get renovated and added onto. And so, I mean, what are you feeling after that meeting? And that was pretty high tense stuff. So
it was, we went in because we had to receive approval because Tarleton's use capacity hasn't been as high as it should be over the last couple of years. So we really didn't know what was going to happen in the meeting. But as you saw, they were very, very positive about great things happening at Tarleton. Had really no questions at all about it, the purpose of the project, where it is that the university is heading. And so, from my standpoint, it was the best possible outcome. What it does is it positions us very well to move forward with the grant program and to put in place what we think are going to be some of the best learning spaces on the campus. For the students that are in the humanities, or for any student on the Tarleton campus for that matter, there are going to be spaces in that building, unlike that we have on the campus today, that are going to be the kind of spaces that students are going to want to use in the future, because teaching is changing, how students learn is changing, and what these spaces will do is it will provide you the latest, the best, and I think some of the most interesting kind of equipment and spaces that you possibly want at a university.
right on. Well, there you hear it. We're just going to continue to become a better and better campus, and we're going to continue to put out the best work you've ever seen. I'm Ian Troub with Texan News Service, and this is Dr. Dottavio. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ian. Always a pleasure.
According to the Associated Press, a West Texas jury has convicted a man for the murder of an Austin woman whose husband was wrongfully convicted of her slaying. Jurors in San Angelo found Mark Allen Norwood guilty of capital murder Wednesday for the 1986 beating of Christine Morton, who was attacked in her home. He was sentenced to life in prison, but is eligible for parole after 15 years. Morton's husband, Michael, was initially convicted for her death in 1987, but was freed in 2011. He served nearly 25 years in prison before DNA evidence proved that Norwood was the attacker. In campus news, the Tarleton Invitational Band Festival will end with a concert by the Tarleton State University Wine Ensemble at 7:30 this evening in the auditorium of the Clyde H. Wells Fine Arts Center. This year's guest clinician and conductor Samuel P. Hazo will be joining the Wine Ensemble during the concert. Tickets gone on sale 1 hour before the concert, and all seats are $5. Please call Dial Cox at 254-968-9291 for ticket information. In regional news, according to Stephenville Empire-Tribune, the Dublin ISD Board of Trustees has agreed on extending their faculty and staff contracts. After about 45 minutes in a closed session, the board voted unanimously to approve recommendations regarding continued employment brought forward by Superintendent Dr. Rodney Snyder. Those included in the measures were teachers, coaches, band directors, counselors, and nurses. Campus and district administrators' contracts were also approved earlier this year. And now today's national and international news from the Associated Press. In national news, the Supreme Court is indicating it could strike down the federal law that prevents legally married gay couples from receiving a range of federal benefits for married people. Justice Anthony Kennedy often raised questions about the provisions of the Federal Defense of Marriage Act that is being challenged at the Supreme Court. Kennedy says the laws intrudes on the power of states that have chosen to recognize same-sex marriages. The law affects a range of benefits available to married couples, including tax breaks, survivor benefits, and health insurance for spouses of federal employees. In international news, a judge has announced that more than 150 human skulls and bones recovered from a mass grave in Sri Lanka were buried there about 25 years ago, strengthening suspicion that they belonged to suspicion Marxist rebels killed at the time. Tests carried out by medical officers showed the skeletal remains found inside a government hospital dated to between 1987 and 1990. During that period, thousands of men and women suspected of having ties to the rebels disappeared after security forces arrested them. Workers found the remains during construction at the hospital last December. There was 154 total. The Marxist group People's Liberation Front, which led to uprising between 1971 and 1989, claimed that the bodies may belong to comrades killed by the security forces that arrested them. In sports news, we have Terrell Harden with the members of the Texans track team. Terrell? Now for today's weather. Today's high is 72 degrees with a low of 54 degrees. Today's broadcast was produced by Ian Troub, Sarah Rader, Chelsea Bradley, Lauren Lay, Darrell Blair, and Terrell Harden. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of the Texan TV News on Facebook. I am Dominique Martin. Tune in tomorrow for the latest news from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.